Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be looking at PDD holdings, and we want to help you decide if it's a good fit for your portfolio. We've looked at a few different sources, Wikipedia stock analysis reports. We even found a podcast that went in depth. So we're going to bring you all the key insights about this company. PDD's journey is really quite remarkable. It's had such rapid growth, and it's got this really unique team buying model.
Yeah, it is fascinating how quickly PDD has really just shaken up the Chinese e-commerce market. I mean, they've gone toe-to-toe with these giants like Alibaba in such a short time.
Yeah, they were only founded in 2015 by Colin Huang. He's a former Google employee.
Mm.
And initially, they were focused on agriculture,
Mm.
connecting farmers directly to consumers in these more rural areas.
And that was a smart move,
Right.
targeting that niche market like that. And then coupling that with such aggressive expansion into a general merchandise platform has really been key for their growth. They've been able to attract consumers in these lower tier cities that are much more price conscious, and they were eager for more affordable goods.
And they've had this strong partnership with Tencent and WeChat,
Yeah.
which has also played a huge role in their success.
Oh, absolutely.
So you might be surprised to learn that PDD hit $383 billion in gross merchandise volume in 2021.
Wow.
Their team buying model allows users to get discounts by forming buying groups. And it really leverages the power of WeChat's massive user base.
Yeah, it's like a digital version of bulk buying, but they've added that social twist to it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have a remarkably low take rate, which is the commission that they charge sellers.
Oh yeah, theirs is tiny. Only
Yeah.
0.6%. It's way lower than what companies like Alibaba and JD.com are charging. Those guys are taking 10-30%.
Wow. So this lower rate allows them to attract a lot of sellers, especially manufacturers who are looking to just go direct to consumer.
Right.
And that actually brings us to PDD's C2M model. It's a consumer to manufacturer model where they're essentially cutting out the middleman and allowing these manufacturers to offer their products at much lower prices.
It's a pretty brilliant strategy.
Now, even though their transaction fees are low, most of PDD's revenue comes from advertising and promotions.
Yeah, similar to the way that Facebook and Google are making their money.
So despite this incredible growth, they're actually currently unprofitable on a net income basis.
That's right. But, they are generating significant operating cash flow because of those prepayments for the merchandise and the advertising. So this gives them a really, significant cash advantage to really fuel their growth initiatives, primarily those subsidies for their team buying feature.
But is that reliance on subsidies sustainable in the long run?
That's a good question, and something that, potential investors really need to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
That transition to a profitable business model is going to be a big test for their management team.
Absolutely. So in just a few years, PDD has captured 14% of the Chinese e-commerce market. They've even surpassed JD.com and are really challenging Alibaba's dominance.
Yeah, and a lot of their success can be attributed to that unique model that we talked about and their focus on those price-sensitive consumers.
Right. But of course, the competitive landscape is always changing. So they're facing competition not only from those established players like Alibaba and JD.com, but there's also potential threats from Tencent's own social commerce initiatives.
If Tencent decides to create their own platform, that could really impact PDD's growth.
Oh, absolutely. Their relationship with Tencent is so key to their success.
For sure.
So when we're looking at their valuation, they're trading at a really high revenue multiple compared to competitors,
Yeah.
which reflects that rapid growth and future potential.
Mm.
But when you look at their valuation based on operating cash flow, it seems a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, particularly when you consider that strong cash generation that they have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So PDD has been making some strategic moves.
Yeah.
One notable example is their launch of Temu. It's a sister company, and it's targeting the U.S. market with those similar discount and social shopping features.
It's definitely ambitious. Expanding into the U.S. market like that, they're going to have to navigate a very different cultural landscape and compete with these really well-established companies like Amazon and Walmart. It'll be interesting to see how successful they are.
Yeah, for sure. And another interesting move that they made was they changed their legal domicile from Shanghai to Dublin in 2023. And there's been some speculation that this was done for tax optimization or some regulatory reasons.
It's definitely a reminder that they operate in this very complex regulatory environment, both in China and, internationally. So investors should really be paying attention to these factors when they're trying to figure out PDD's long-term prospects.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about some of the concerns and criticisms around PDD. One of the biggest ones is the prevalence of counterfeit products on their platform.
Yeah, they've had legal challenges in both China and the U.S. regarding this. Even though they have taken steps to, shut down stores and remove listings, the problem hasn't completely gone away.
Right. And in 2023, Google actually removed PDD's app from the Play Store because they were worried about malware in some versions of the app.
That was definitely not good for their reputation. They did release an updated version to try to fix the problem, but it made people question their security practices and their commitment to user privacy.
And then another controversy is that they have really aggressive non-compete agreements with former employees.
Yeah, there have been some pretty serious allegations that they're using surveillance to enforce those agreements, and that's definitely drawn some criticism.
So these controversies bring up some ethical challenges that these high-growth tech companies are facing.
Yeah, investors need to really think about those things when they're evaluating PDD's long-term prospects.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's kind of summarize the pros and cons of owning PDD stock. On the plus side, there's huge growth potential in the Chinese and global e-commerce markets. They have a unique business model that really leverages social commerce. They have very cost-efficient supply chains. And of course, they have that strong relationship with Tencent and access to the WeChat ecosystem.
Exactly. But on the negative side, their valuation is high, especially if you're using those more traditional metrics.
Right.
And that reliance on subsidies to fuel their growth may not be sustainable in the long run.
And there's always that risk of increased regulation, both in China and the US, especially when it comes to those counterfeit goods and data privacy.
Absolutely. Investors need to consider all of that.
So for anyone wondering if they might get some income from this stock, PDD doesn't have a history of paying dividends. And share buybacks are unlikely because they're putting all their money into growth.
So the big question is PDD Holdings right for your portfolio? We're going to continue exploring this in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've covered quite a bit about PDD, but now let's dive into their innovation pipeline and their plans for the future. What are they doing to stay ahead in this rapidly changing market?
Well, PDD has a reputation for constant experimentation. They're always pushing the boundaries of e-commerce, and they're investing heavily in AI and machine learning to personalize that shopping experience and to make their logistics more efficient.
That makes sense. Personalization is key these days. What about new product categories or services? Are they venturing into anything new that could drive more growth?
Yeah, they're exploring all kinds of things like social commerce, online grocery delivery, even online entertainment.
Wow.
They're really trying to use their connection with Tencent to become more integrated with WeChat and all of its features. They want to be more than just a shopping destination. They're aiming to be a full-blown lifestyle platform.
So as an investor, is that something that you'd be willing to bet on? Can they expand beyond just e-commerce and be successful in these new markets?
It's a big question mark. Their success is going to depend on whether they can adapt their business model and really understand what consumers want.
Okay, so let's talk about Colin Huang stepping down as CEO in 2021. His co-founder Lai Chen took over. Has that impacted the company at all?
Well, it was a big change, but the transition has been pretty smooth. Lei Chen has been there since the beginning, and he was a big part of their success so far. The company's overall strategy hasn't really changed. They're still focused on growth, innovation, and expansion.
People always say that a company's culture is really influenced by its founder. Do you think there are any risks now that Huang is gone? Will they be able to keep that entrepreneurial spirit?
It's a valid point. It can be tough to keep that culture strong, especially when a company is growing so fast. But PDD has a good leadership team, and they seem committed to innovation.
Okay, let's go back to those ethical concerns about PDD. How much do you usually consider these factors when you're thinking about investing in a company?
ESG factors are becoming more and more important for investors. They can affect a company's reputation, their ability to hire good people, and in the end, their profitability. So those issues around counterfeit goods, data privacy, and how they treat their employees, those are things you can't just ignore.
Yeah, it's a reminder that investing is about more than just making money. You want to support companies that do things the right way.
Exactly. You have to weigh the potential rewards against the risks.
So what's the bottom line for an investor? Should they buy PDD stock?
PDD is a really interesting company with huge growth potential. They have a unique business model and a strong leadership team, but they also have these challenges with competition regulations and those ethical issues.
That sounds like a high-risk, high-reward situation.
Exactly. So the decision comes down to your personal investment goals, how much risk you're comfortable with, and whether you think PDD can handle these challenges and live up to their potential.
You really have to do your research and decide if it's a good fit for your strategy.
If you want a company with proven profits and a long track record, PDD might not be right for you. But if you're looking for high growth and you believe in their vision, then PDD might be worth considering.
That's a good point. It's all about finding what's right for you. We always like to wrap up these deep dives by leaving our listeners with something to think about. What's the one big question that comes to mind for you after looking at all of this?
Well, after all of this, I keep coming back to this question. Can PD keep up this incredible growth while also dealing with all of these challenges like the competition, the regulations, and, just doing business ethically? It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, that's a really important point. They've been so good at getting more market share, but can they keep that going while also fixing these problems with counterfeit products and data privacy? And what about attracting good employees, especially with all the controversy around how they've treated people in the past?
Yeah, all of those things could really affect their success in the long run. And then there's that whole global expansion with Temu. Can they really copy their success in China and compete with huge companies like Amazon and Walmart in the US? I mean,
It's really a lot to consider.
yeah,
We'll have to see what happens, but it's definitely going to be interesting to watch PDD. They're really pushing the limits in e-commerce.
definitely. They're a great example of how much online shopping is changing.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you found this deep dive into PDD holdings helpful as you make your investment decisions.
And remember, investing is a journey. It's all about learning, finding new opportunities, and making smart choices.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep dives on other companies. Leave a comment and tell us what stocks you'd like us to cover next. We really appreciate your feedback. Thanks for listening.